Hello, hello, hello. Ooh, we got a full house tonight. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Welcome to Live with Fifi and Freddy. This is season 13, episode 21. Right? Yes. I just didn't put the right date. I changed the episode, I think. Or was it 22?
I
Shit.
think that I am frozen.
Nope, you're there.
Moving.
You're moving. Right for now, anyway.
Good. Okay.
I think this might actually be 22, episode 22. Sorry, my bad. I didn't change the... Okay, there we go. Welcome to season 13, episode 22 of Live with Fifi and Freddy. Over there to my... to my... I guess my left? My left? Left. Over there is Felicia Minor. And I'm Freddie Prince Charming, and I'm responsible for the guests that we have this evening with us. We have Madame Askew.
Hello.
And we have Eve Riot.
Hello.
All right. We're going to plow through the housekeeping real quick, and then we're going to get down to some shit. Felicia, are you still with us?
I like to think I am among the living.
Maybe you are freezing. Oh, you know what? You're stuttering. So I don't know. You are kind of, you kind of keep freezing and then unfreezing and freezing and unfreezing. Okay. Well, Felicia figures that out. I'm going to go ahead and jump in. We're going to get the housekeeping done.
Wait, can I stay on and still?
I think so. We can hear you now. We just can't see you. Maybe the video is the problem. You'd be like a disembodied voice of God.
A haunting.
This gives me COVID PTSD.
Do you want to do the housekeeping, or do you want me to do the housekeeping?
I'll try. Today we have a packed show along with our guest. But we'll be talking about consent or consent. Huh? And maybe we know some bad influencers. And there's so much more as they sip their tea.
I know.
I have not seen any pinkies.
I'm failing this evening. I don't actually have tea. I have ginger ale because my body is trying to revolt, and I'm trying to say no, you cannot revolt. So I have ginger ale and plain toast over here. So if you see me mute myself, it's because I'm taking a bite of my toast. That's what's happening.
Oh, you don't get that ASMR for free.
So
right? That ASMR costs extra.
That's a Patreon level. The
right?
ASMR level.
I could save my toast and eat my toast for the patrons.
A toast to your patrons.
While talking to them in disappointed dad voice.
It's not funny. I don't get it. Just kidding. Sorry, Felicia. I'm so sorry. I rudely interrupted you.
No, it's fine. Let's see. Our question tonight for the audience is, what is your favorite shade of brown? Comment in the chat. We'd love to know your favorite shade of brown. I would say I'm like that mauve tan kind of like brown.
I could see that.
That was all over the place in the 80s. Like you were like, oh, you chose that.
In fact, I did choose that occasionally in the 80s, Felicia.
I feel like it's that sort of not quite like purpley sort of rotting flesh color, I think is what it, yes. Yeah.
Like borderline
exactly.
Yeah, right. It's like it yes. Yep. I can see that.
Yes.
Wow, really?
Oh, your wife is so nice.
Aw. Oh,
Do the entire. I feel like that was probably going to bother her the entire show. That's probably what
it's beautiful to refer to her now as your wife.
Your wife.
It's still very strange to hear that because it's not that I like. I've never ever referred to a partner as my wife, never, and that seems to be the go-to in the queer community. You're with somebody for more than a week, and all of a sudden they're your wife or your husband or whatever the fuck it is. I have never done that. Never referred to anybody as my wife, and it's very like it's still. It's weird. No, I've never even like my long-term relationships. I've never like it's weird. Yeah, right.
But also, Scon Mistress, you are very darling, and I love this. This is so sweet. What a lovely, charming reply to the question.
That's adorable. Yeah. So, wow. Should you be? I don't know if our Scon Mistress should be on this episode. I feel like it might be too much for our dear darling.
Okay, has much spice.
Yes.
After all, you have to have spice.
I don't want to. I'm like those with milder sensibilities.
Oh no, there's nothing wrong with Scon Mistress.
I don't want to assume. I don't want to assume.
Ooh, hello Cheshire. Hello, my darling. Aww.
Oh Lord. Oh my God. Okay, let's plow through this real quick. Felicia, you know.
Join us on Patreon. Yes, okay. I'm here. I think that I may be a little
I think you're a little laggy. Something.
My internet loves me.
Fluttery. Like my heart, Felicia.
I feel like I'm dialing...
When I think of you, it flutters. But also, Cheshire, thank you for bringing some cheekiness. We love that. We love some cheekiness.
You can join us on Patreon at patreon.com/livewithfifi and Freddy. You too can support us, and maybe I can buy like a better internet setup. Who knows? Who knows? Last week it worked just fine.
I got you the extender, damn it. Plug that shit in.
Yes, and I found another one. So there's two in here.
Oh, maybe it's overextended. Hypertension of your internet.
Oh.
How dare I? I'll see. I don't know. It's weird.
It's okay, mine might just die abruptly. This happened in last week's Friday tea. I suddenly cut out, so
it's fine.
My internet also.
You know what? Madam Askew and we'll hold down the fort. We got this. I hope.
We'll power through with our hats.
They're very charming hats.
With the hats.
With the hats.
Oh,
I would like to say that I have a hat on too.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
We did get to see
Imagine
it briefly.
I'm imagining it. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. Gorgeous hat.
Oh my God. Okay. We are never going to get through this.
Focused. Okay, I've got my blinders on. Go.
We'd like to thank our patrons, Brandon, Cassandra, Chris and Michelle, Dee, Drake Jensen and Michael, Casey Starr, Carrie and Corey, Joan, Laura, Leanne, Madam Askew, and the Grand Arbiter, Nicole, Patricia Mason, Shannon, and Bill, as we now know.
Yes, we now know it is. I'm like, who the fuck is William? I don't know who the fuck. That's Bill. Thank you, Bill. We love you. Sorry. I'm like, who the fuck is William? We're good. We on this.
And a shout out to Wigs of a Kind for supporting us this season. I am wearing a Wigs of a Kind wig imagine it. It's
This
there.
is not a Wigs of a Kind wig. She would
Neither is
never.
this.
Neither is mine. But I love Felicia's. It's
Yes.
gorgeous.
Felicia's is beautiful. It's yeah.
Makes me want to try wigs again.
Oh. I
What
mean,
did you
I'm all
do
about
this
wigs.
weekend?
I can do nifty shit like just stick. So this weekend was actually a good, like busy but not crazy weekend for me. Friday we had my partner had a work gig. It was like all the students kind of do like a little art show. So like each little classroom, like they decorate and they have like a little theme and they do all the things. It was absolutely adorable. It was super, super cute. So I try to go as often as I can to go support and, whatever. And it was interesting. We walk into one room and a little 5-year-old points at me and goes, "I know who he is." And he is like, "Who?" "That's your grandson." I was like, "Oh, honey, that's okay. Nothing a little Botox won't fix." And then according to another parent, my partner is too hot for me. We are still in the process of trying to figure out whether that was some like dig at me, some weird backhand. We are unsure, but you know what? That it's great. I am whatever. It's fine. Saturday evening was Southwest Love Fest. I wasn't a presenter this year, which kind of sucked. But whatever. But I was asked to produce the entertainment for the Glow Party, which was kind of fun. I brought Vis-a-Vis on, who, those of you who don't know, Vis-a-Vis, he's been a burlesque performer for years, does DJing stuff, but he's been kind of flying under the radar for a little while. But I was able to bring him on as a DJ, and that was he was perfect for it. He was absolutely fucking perfect for it. And then a handful of performers. Everyone seemed to have a good time. Hey, it was great. And then because I am a glutton for punishment and I'm trying to not hate myself, I am back in the gym.
Oh.
Yay. Yeah. This is the first time I've been back in the gym since before the pandemic. So it's a struggle kind of getting going. I'm working on it. I know I must have done stuff because like my pecs hurt. So, I did something. So yeah. Felicia, how was your weekend? Yes.
Am I still here?
That's why.
Okay.
No. Yes.
Let me answer quickly. So Saturday, enjoyed the Southwest Love Fest and dancing around in the dark, neon, dark, in the dark. But it was fun. And then bright and early, I got up and did a drag story hour. For me, that was a little bit of a I felt fine, but I could telling safeguarded, feeling like, ooh, I don't know, and I didn't feel bad at all. It felt good to be back storytelling again, and I made a discovery. One of my littles keeps doing like I wish I could turn on the camera without it stuttering, but
you can try.
roly poly. So she comes home and she's like rolling her arms every day, and then so like
this,
Miss Michelle,
huh?
Yeah, and I was like trying to figure out what she was doing, and so like I saw that, and then I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna love this. And so then it like hit me, and then so we did the activity in the middle of the thing, I guess. And and she was so thrilled that we were doing the roly poly. And so It was like a mystery
funny.
solved. I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's been doing that for like 3 weeks now, and I have no idea what it is." But as soon as we did it, I was like,
That's
"Oh
funny.
my god, that's what it is." So that was the highlight of my weekend. And then performed at Stacy's for Magic, and here
2
we are
gigs in one day. No,
today,
thank you.
back at it.
Madam Askew,
Yeah.
Eve, any fun things that y'all did this weekend?
This past weekend. Right. Well, we did like a little Friday tea situation in honor of my birthday. That was
That's
really
right. Your
delightful.
birthday just happened.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, I'm 49,000. I know I look really fresh for my age, but that is the amount of tea I consume. So that was really delightful, though, on Friday. And then I think the rest of the weekend I sort of wallowed a bit into spare and mixed that in with some house cleaning and more tea drinking.
As one does.
As
One does.
Yeah.
My weekend, I did the Friday tea. We tortured Madame Askew with compliments, as one does. Most of my events were canceled because I live in Louisville, Kentucky, which suffered quite a deluge the past week, as well as tornado warnings, and the floodgates had to been opened. So a lot of things
quite literally.
Yes, quite literally floodgates. They had to. Fun fact: there's we're getting ready to start Derby season this week, and they canceled one of the opening events because of the flooding.
Shit! That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. They canceled the air show that happens every year on the waterfront because of the flooding and all of the debris. But I will end it on a positive note. I got a last minute booking on April 1st, which is not the weekend, but it is an event where I got to do an April Fool's show with a wonderful group of local performers. And it was probably one of the most fun shows I've had. Got to do something really silly. It had everything. It had Janet from The Good Place. It had sexy
that's
Steve
fantastic.
Harvey. It had Colonel Sanders feeding the audience chicken. And it had me, which was nice.
And you being fabulous, please.
And me performing to Alanis Morissette's cover of My Humps.
That's spectacular. I love
it. In the tassel costume that I wore for Wild Wild West
excellent.
Number, which worked really well for that, actually.
Totally.
So that might become a regular. The April Fool's show was great, and so I'm hyped up for my next show later this month.
Awesome. It sounds like y'all have good stuff. So I just need to address some stuff happening in the chat here. I am not trying to get swole. I am not trying to have a bunch of gains at the gym. My clothes already don't fit me. My point is I'm trying to get into the gym to lose the things that cause my clothes to no longer fit me. I would like to get back into the clothes that fit me, and that does not include getting swole and massive gains. I don't need to be. I just need to.
You don't want to crush some watermelons between your thighs?
No, that seems like a lot of effort for like no reason.
For the TikTok clout, though, and also your secret OnlyFans that you
Right, yes. I have many of those. Yes. Lots of secret OnlyFans.
They love watermelon. They love you. They want to see you crush those watermelons.
Oh my god. Yeah, I will work on that. Listen, my legs might already be strong enough to do that. My legs are actually like not a problem. It's the rest of the squishiness up here that I'm trying to like kind of get rid of a little bit so I can get back into the clothes that I have because I can't afford to keep buying new clothes. Right, and I have to keep my hot wife, which I feel like that's a porno. It's fine. It's fine. All right, so
is this better?
Nope. Now you're all grainy and still No, nope.
But you live. You. Oh,
There you
hello.
go.
Look there.
There you
Wow,
are.
kind of-
You're maybe not
Oh, but
lagging.
for
I don't know. We'll find out. Okay. All right. So now we need to get into basically the only reason why I have these guests on this evening.
oh yes, the only reason.
And
The
this is
only
why-
reason.
We're not charming or interesting by our
Oh,
own
right.
rights. This is the only reason.
maybe.
But
All
also,
right.
can we take a moment before we go into this to talk about Freddy Peck's charming? Because that's a wonderful pun. I love it.
Okay, so fun fact. All right, so I am trying to not necessarily like build massive muscle on my chest, but to get a little bit of definition on my chest. Reason being is I'm actually curious. So
Do
random.
you still have
So-
muscle there?
Oh, I do actually. I very much
Mm.
do. Like, in fact, if I flex,
It was a serious question
you-
because
if you get-
sometimes people lose the muscle.
no,
mass
I
into there.
still have muscle for sure. But if I can get some definition, technically my scars will be completely hidden because my surgeon is fucking brilliant and put my scars directly underneath my pectoral muscle. So if I get a little bit of
Mm.
definition, it'll actually hide most of my scars. But again, it's more of an experimentation thing. Yeah. Okay, so
So
Freddy Peck,
All right.
charming.
all right. I need y'all to get your tea, to get whatever it is that you need to get while we dive into this shit. So I have this under my tip, even though this is not a tip. This is more of a what the actual fuck. So, as many of you know, a couple weekends ago was the Wild Wild West Con Steampunk Convention. It
Never heard of it.
got cut. Thanks. It got cut short because of reasons, which I think some of us are still kind of feeling this sort of weird, incomplete. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I haven't had that con drop the way that I usually do because it hasn't really. It's been different. Like there was no finality to think. Like it was very strange. Like I haven't had like it was just it's weird. It
So
was
the
like,
way I listen to this, it's almost like you know how like during the pandemic when it was like first starting,
yeah.
and then everybody was like, "That can't be true," and then like the whole world shut down the next day. That's what I feel like this. is.
Right. Kinda. That's kind of how that went. So, oh, go ahead, Eve. Go ahead. You.
I feel like I kind of just went into autopilot. So no, I haven't had like the stereotypical con drop, but also life has just been so dramatic even after that I've had a different kind of glitter crash.
That's fair.
I
That's
think
fair.
than your
Right.
typical con crash. But yeah, it did feel very different because of that very abrupt, awkward ending.
Right. It was odd. So how to put this? So at the con, a certain guest who was there by invitation, I guess, decided after should we name this person or do we not name this person?
No, let's
Can I be
not.
invited next time?
Right. You're not that much of an influencer.
No.
Sorry, Felicia.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so this influencer, and I'm going to use the term lightly because I don't know. I don't
Creator.
right.
They're
So
really a costumer, which is like a little bit of a different beast than your typical influencer.
right.
So it
And
makes it feel different.
I mean I don't know. Maybe my expectations, maybe my bar is set very high, but when someone tells me they're a costumer, there's like I guess I there's certain things I expect, and that was not it. So anyway, this person was invited to the con. They were treated as such. They were picked up, they were shuffled, they were, they were all the things, right? After everything went down with the con, this individual decided to post a video entitled "The Worst Con I've Ever Been to." Now, that so that right off the bat, I'm like, okay, well, that's not. Is that right there is going to be misleading? It's going to like it's 100% not. Mm,
It is a successful rage baity title.
absolutely,
Yes.
abso-fucking-lutely.
It really
So-
frames things in a particular way too, from the get-go. That is, as the Grand Arbiter would say, very jaundiced in the way
Yes.
it frames things.
Yes.
It doesn't make a lot of the audience who engaged with the video, who also were at the con, want to engage with that video in good faith, because they were not presenting it in good
Right.
faith. And that is kind of what happened with that video. It didn't feel like it was made in honesty. I mean, maybe that was their experience, but it hurt in a way that, as I put it in a few chats, it felt like they were kind of kicking a puppy,
Right.
because we were already still reeling from a convention that a lot of people hold very dear to their
Right.
heart, because it's one of their few times they get to see all their friends, get to connect with the artists they care about, and it's suddenly abruptly shut
Right.
down. And then to have this person who has a lot of influence and clout come and frankly shit all over it really
Now,
hurts.
I was told before the con that I didn't, I wasn't given a name, but a name wouldn't have meant shit to me anyway, because I pay basically zero attention to any of that shit. I really don't give a fuck. But I was told that this person was coming, and that, number one, this person had a sort of an explicit invite to the Dragon Burlesque show, and that this person could make or break a con. And I'm like, that, okay. All right, whatever. Now, again, I don't know who this person was. Didn't give a fuck, because I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let y'all know I suffered through this video twice. The first time, we weren't even 5 minutes in, and my partner and I are going, oh my God, what a fucking cunt. Like, literally, we're watching this, like, going, what the fuck? Because less than 5 minutes in, she says, the reason I wanted to make this video was to ask the question, is steampunk dead? So,
Hold on, let me check.
it
Looked pretty good for a dead
Right.
person.
So she didn't even go in with good intentions. She
No.
went in with the mindset of being like, nah, this shit's done. Because she then says that it's been running out of steam since the 2010s.
Yeah.
So there was no good intentions with anything. I don't think she had good intentions even accepting the invitation to the con. I think that she went with the intention of being like, this shit is whack as fuck.
It really did feel like, with that statement, that she'd set her plan to drag the show, or at least to drag the genre. And she hadn't really done a lot of research. It
She didn't
felt
know
like,
shit.
you know,
She
like
didn't know
when you-
shit.
She'd done like the most shallow of research, just what you could get on a quick wiki or a BuzzFeed listicle or something like that. And maybe she'd listen to a video by some, you know, embittered old white men who left the scene because they aren't wanted
Right.
anymore.
I mean, she says, when I got invited to Wild Wild West Con, I was like, they still have steampunk cons? So, a quick Google search, literally a 10-second fucking Google search, will tell you that there are at least 16 steampunk themed cons planned in 2025.
Yeah.
At least. So, yeah, they still have steampunk cons, you dumb bitch. I'm sorry, but come on.
Well,
I'm like,
oh, please go ahead, Freddie. I'm just
No,
like,
but-
I'm jumping in.
no,
Let
jump
a
in.
little through.
Jump. Jump all the things.
I
Jump
will
on them.
jump in. No, the thing I would say, like, look, if you do some research, if you are acting in good faith and you come to people in the community and you say, hey, I've heard steampunk is dead, I don't think any of us are going to prevaricate and say, oh yeah, no, it's huge, it's massive, it's just like it was 15 years ago. It's definitely a smaller community. The number of conventions has definitely shrunk. That's all true statements, but it is an alive and beloved fandom and community. And also at its height, it was being sort of pilfered by a lot of big business as the current fad. So I would say steampunk isn't dead. It's just that it's not.
It's no longer
That's it.
monetized.
Bingo.
It's no longer a victim of capitalism in the way that it was when they were, selling all of these brown costumes at Hot Topic and at Spirit Halloween. No offense to Freddy's costume, yours is great.
Well, steampunk is just brown. Just brown.
Right?
There is no color in steampunk. No color in steampunk.
Goths that discovered brown. I'm sorry. Did you see some of the cast?
No. If you're in colors, you're not really a steampunk.
Yeah. Well,
brown.
that means I must not actually be a steampunk because I've made 2 brown costumes in my entire career. No, 3 maybe brown costumes in my entire career as a steampunk performer and as a denizen of steampunk. And I like brown. I'm not opposed to brown. I love a chocolatey brown. As Lady June Squirrel says, I like a little cup of tea, a builder's shade of brown. Very nice. But I just know that the 19th century was full of toxic, deadly synthetic dyes that were murdering people, and that's what I want to wear. And we're dropping like flies.
It's fine. We got this. We can do this. Wait, I think Eve came back. Let me bring them back on. I'm gonna bring them back on.
Sorry,
okay,
my internet protested my my insistence that steampunk was more than just brown. My apologies.
Listen, the Caffeinati are coming for you for daring to imply that steampunk is anything other than brown.
On the massive list of things that she had a problem with, one of the things that she had a problem with was top hats, which I'm like, okay, Victorian fashion, you understand do you understand the era that what's your beef with fucking top hats? So of course I had to go digging to find a brown top hat, which, mind you, this is the only brown top hat that I have, but I felt that it was fitting because, brown
and a top hat.
We are brown.
The steampunk fashion is so wide ranging that you can find your niche in any decade of the Victorian era and even beyond that, because a lot of people also incorporate diesel punk.
Diesel punk is
or
awesome.
Gasland.
I think these days diesel punk is probably closer to the era that we're currently living in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole World War II vibe.
Yeah. Like I tend to gravitate towards more Art Nouveau, Art Deco time periods aesthetically and color wise. Those are the silhouettes I like. Those are the colors I like. That's the vibe I like. But that's not brown.
No,
it's not. Not usually, anyway.
Well, it's more. I see a lot of gold tones and sort of metallics and things that But the only metallic that you can have is copper, though, because copper is just it.
That's it. We're only allowed brass, copper, and brown. That's it.
That's
I
it.
have
Nothing else.
Sales at Steampunk.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes, I feel like and I mean we are in a small. Our particular, not clique, but niche within the overall steampunk community is more queer and is more colorful. So we do have a slight bias there of like, well, of course steampunk isn't just brown because our group embraces color. And maybe not all groups do, but you don't have to look that hard to see that there is a wide variety of expressions.
That
of
was actually
dress
one of
and
my
color.
biggest issues. So, Lord, I have a list of shit here to talk about. But one of the things is like, okay, so
Yes.
she says that, you know, she went to Goodwill in search of anything brown for her outfit, which is like super creative, so revolutionary. And I'm like, you call yourself a costumer, and you went and found something at Goodwill that was brown and you turned it into like a little like vesty thing, okay, whatever. And then you found a hat and threw some like foam strips on it. And literally that was the best you could do. And what I find interesting is anybody who went to this con, if you've seen pictures of this year, last year, any of the previous year, you see costumes that are incredible. Like
Elaborate.
absolute, like the most amazing. Like I'm sit there, I covet so much. Oh my God, I see people, I'm like, I want that. None of that made it into any of this 30-minute video.
No.
None of it. She found folks that might have been more new. Anything that she could find that was the most basic steampunk shit ever. And
or just
there's
people
nothing
coming in for the
Right.
for the first day when we're
Right.
all sort of like
right.
a little bit more
Like, there's-
casual.
I'm like, and my theory.
Madame, you cannot say that. Madame, who wore an entire lavender witch costume with a hat that
Right,
was 3
there's
feet
that.
tall.
I'm like, I have a theory behind this though, because if she had gotten any of the more elaborate costumes, then it would have made her, number one, look stupid as fuck, and number two, would have made her outfit look boring as all get out. Because
It would have
it wouldn't have worked. It would not have worked for her narrative. Because God forbid she show, my God, Strange Way, any of these people that came in, like that oh my God, Madame Askew,
Charles.
the Grand Arbiter,
Madame Askew and the Grand Arbiter's dragon
Right.
costumes.
which she got for about 30 seconds.
Mathematica's
Right.
Frostine Ice Queen costume. Yes, Strange Way.
Charles
God, there was
Mason.
the shiny.
So
Oh my God, Charles
Yes.
Mason's
so
costume.
many, so many, and yet none of that made it into, except for 30 seconds of the tea dueling on Saturday when.
And the
Yes.
teapot racing.
Although I would like to
a
shout
fraction
out
of
to my
it.
lemons. Thank you very much. My lemons made it onto the video. My
They
lemons had like more screen time than anybody's like decent outfits, which I thought was hysterical. But you know,
You have to
It's-
explain that for people that weren't there.
okay. So my
I only
My
heard was
lemon-
your
my-
lemons were on the table, and I'm feeling
my
uncomfortable.
my lemon tree is a mutant and still has fucking lemons on it, is still producing lemons, still has blossoms on it, and we'll still have more. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to bring some fucking lemons to Wild West Con, and I'm going to find people to take my fucking lemons. So I gave some to Madame Askew and the Grand Arbiter to use as prizes, which they did. These lemons, I shit you not, were this big around. Massive fucking lemons.
They're really
Massive
huge.
fucking lemons.
They're huge. They're Neapolitan lemons in their hearts. They were great.
Massive.
And it was a wonderful
So-
gag, honestly. People were like bemused, but it was great. And it was
They were
in
like, "Why
keeping
is
with,
this
like-
lemon the shape of
yeah.
the size of a
It worked.
grapefruit?"
It worked. No, they were bigger than grapefruits. They were ridiculously. They were huge. I kid you not.
They're
So-
like G cups, really. I mean,
Oh, right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So one of the other things that was said in this video was, and this of course was in the first few minutes, was I wasn't expecting much from this con. The fandom is past its prime. Now,
Ooh.
okay, I'm a get on my little soapbox here about things like ageism.
How old is this person?
Fuck you. Oh, it must be in their 20s. She's got to be in her 20s.
yeah.
So
She
you're
had the
seriously going
dewy
like.
skin of a 25-year-old.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, so what's your problem? Are you mad
Mm.
that all of these folks that are older than you have found something that they actually fucking enjoy? and
What's wrong
are
with
better at it
older
than you
people
are.
liking things?
Like, are you mad because all these people who are older than you and don't give a fuck about who you are didn't know who you were, because that was a thing.
That was a thing. Mentioned
That was
multiple
a thing.
times. Yeah.
She was very happy that the con owners treated her like a princess, but she actually says, hang on, let me find it. I'm used to people at cons stopping me to ask for my picture. Okay, girl, you were dressed like the most generic, I don't know, fucking cow person ever, and there were, I don't know, 100 more people.
There were better costumes to take
Yes.
pictures
There were
of.
100 people that would have been way more interesting to take their picture, because yours was nothing. Like, what was yours? Like,
You know,
like,
I did my research on her before she came because I was
Mhm.
excited for this cosplayer, this costumer to come. I always like to meet fellow costumers. I really want to make them welcome in our community spaces. And I had looked at some of her cosplays. She's got things that are interesting and bigger, and that would have made more
Why
of a
didn't she bring them
splash
with her?
because she decided to, I don't know if she thought she was fitting in, but because she did 5 seconds of research and because she was
Right.
dismissive, she just brought this, like, it was it was cute. It was not,
It was
there's
cute.
nothing, it's fine,
It-
cute, charming little costume.
I feel like
It's not
I'm
what I'm looking
lazy with
for.
costuming, and I probably could have done a better job.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
look, if you are a cast,
So
oh, please, go ahead.
yeah. Sorry, we've had other and maybe we're just very
Well.
spoiled. I will play mildly diplomatic here. I'm not a fan, but we've had other cosplay guests in the past who might not dress necessarily steampunk, but still go all
Mhm.
out, and are also don't have a stick up their ass.
Oh, yes.
The stick.
To
Mhm.
put it diplomatically, I guess.
Very diplomatic, Eve.
Thanks. I try.
In this climate, just
I
say how
realize
you
I
feel.
totally. Yes, but this is the thing: is like her being upset that nobody knew who she was.
Did she introduce herself?
True. Maybe
No.
the group.
No.
That is where that's
No,
where I was
she
going with
didn't.
it. That's where I was going. You knew I
Yeah.
was going with this. She didn't introduce herself to
Anyone.
anybody, at least that I am aware of. And here's the thing: if we had been introduced, you do know that our group tends to adopt stray creatures, like white women taking
Oh,
a
but
dog.
she's not a stray
So-
creature, though. She is an influencer, and everybody should know who she is, so she's not a
Okay.
stray.
I'm
So
going to
even
say
though I
something.
was new there,
Oh
I
well,
I
madame,
just
yes.
basically introduced myself to everybody and shook their hand and wanted to know their name.
Yes.
So Freddie can ask me later who they were. Shout out to Bill. But
Madame,
So,
oh,
so I've been performing nearly my entire life. I started performing as a child. And I know that's a long time because I'm 49,000 years old, all right? But the thing I have learned as a performer and entertainer, a person with a very small amount of notoriety in a very niche world where I'm quite happy to be, by the way. I love my community. But never presume that you are so big that everyone knows you. It is obnoxious. The most obnoxious thing, whether you are Chris Evans or Madame Askew, is to walk into a space and go, "Don't you know who I am?" Unless you are saying it in jest, that it's not good.
I say that
not-
shit all the time, completely because nobody knows who the fuck I am. And I'm like, I've
Exactly.
now been able to, like, produce the show at Wild West Con for 3 years running now.
Mhm.
And I fucking love it. I still don't assume that everybody's
Did they
going to
go?
know who the hell I am. In fact, I generally assume that nobody is going to know who I am because I am not going to look the same
I've known you
Friday
for
during the
a long
day,
time and still
and then
don't
Friday
know
at
who you
night,
are.
and then Saturday during the day. Like, I'm not going to look the same at all during that weekend.
No,
So chances are,
And I mean, I see this group once a year at most. I change my look every year. I don't expect people to know who I am. I just assume people are like, that's just a sycophant trailing on the tailcoats of Madame Askew's bustle. Gross.
I mean, aren't we all? Isn't that?
Bustle's-
I feel like
Truly, it's a grand bustle. There's room for
Right.
everybody on it.
You
I
need to
feel
start
like there's
putting
a
a
whole
ticket.
cartoon in there.
But any show I go into, I don't go in presuming that anybody knows who I am. I tend to try to introduce myself to whoever is there because it is networking, and it is
Right.
friendly.
It's only
You
common
know,
sense.
it's just kind of common sense to be like, if you're in a green room space, you want to know who you might be half naked around. So
the whole thing, like, because like a lot of folks have said, she basically just went in with this negative mindset, you know, and not knowing a goddamn thing about steampunk. Apparently, one of her things was that apparently all steampunk characters are British. So she made a big deal about her cowgirl not being British, and I'm like, okay. And then her partner was dressed as something that I don't know. He was in a blue suit, and she actually complains that no one knew who the fuck he was. I'm like, okay, first of all, it's a steampunk con. Dude is in a generic blue suit. What reaction were you expecting exactly? Because yes, there is crossover, and a lot of people do
This is
different
even
things.
lazier than me.
But
Goodness
he was a
gracious.
specific character. He was a specific character for something, and I don't know what the fuck it was.
Okay.
He's a specific character from the show Severance. They're clearly huge fans of that show. Good on them.
Yes, the fact they said on Thursday, she says, hold on, wait, let me find it. Let me find it.
I love the receipts.
Oh God, I have all these things. She basically complained that, oh God, where is that quote? Oh, we went to the reception, but we didn't want to be there. We just wanted to talk about Severance. So all I got was clips of us being tragically ignored.
Yeah. Because we're all
you were
very
there.
excited to see each other. We didn't get to go to the reception because we were working, getting ready for the convention weekend. And like, that's not actually a complaint. That's very normal for us to be like working and busy and getting ready. It's one of our biggest events of the year. I know for her that's going to be hard because in her world, this is a tiny convention of merely 2,000 people. Oh,
right.
So difficult how she suffered. But, you know, on the Thursday night, everyone is just thrilled to see their friends and their family and to be together. And steampunk is not a genre that really, as a community, elevates people in the way I think she's used to. So since all of us are cosplayers and makers and pop builders, we are just excited to see people's cosplays and to engage in a more egalitarian fashion. And so,
generally Thursdays, most people aren't really all that dressed up anyway. A lot of people have just rolled in. Like, we weren't dressed up. We went downstairs briefly, had a cocktail. I think we sat and talked to Pete and CJ for a minute. And then I'm like, okay, I got to go figure out sound check. So we left. Like, she never once talked to anybody. And then there's the whole thing where she talks about
off-putting to me in general, especially if you're human or a decent human being, you like walk in a place and you say, oh, you know, at least she could have like,
hey, I'm new here. Like, this is, you know, whatever. Nothing. No. Well, wait, there's more. So one of her big things was that she was bored on Friday because there wasn't much offered.
Huh?
Well, because she is used to anime cons, I think. I cannot remember who I was speaking to about this, but there's a real distinct cultural difference between.
It was us.
It was us, right? Very different. They are hugely in. Look, I'm old. I'm ancient. I'm 49,000. It's hard to.
Well, you know,
we are past our prime, Eve. We are past our prime.
Right,
Oh, speak for
evenings to
yourself.
go to bed. I'm looking for the crypt, a brown crypt, of course, because
Brown must be brown. Everything.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of her complaints was that the vendor hall was tiny. Now, here's the thing: if you've not been to Wild Wild West Con, the vendor hall is, I would say, quite like Goldilocks size. It is
Yes.
not too big. It is not too small.
No.
It is a good sized vendor hall. Otherwise, you get
I've been
too much
told that before.
repetition. Yes, I was hoping someone would make a joke like that.
Mhm.
Thank you. And so, you know, it's a good variety of goods and services and fun, interesting things. And then there's so much to do because there's lots of programming.
Yeah.
Because there's lots
Yes.
of games and panels and make and takes.
But apparently there wasn't.
But I feel like if you have too many vendors, then it like kind of kills. Like sometimes I even think like at other ones, it feels like it's like way too much, and you have like several people selling the same thing, and they probably
Mhm.
bought it from like the same people, and then
same
you're like, okay,
And there was, I'm going to say there was repetition
Yeah.
at Wild West Con. There were a lot of like 3D printing places that had like a lot of the same stuff. There were a lot of freeze-dried candy things, which, mind you,
It's a
I
new
love this.
fad. I see
Right.
it on a
It's
lot of
like,
the
it
art
is what it is, but I think you're going to find that at any con. But even it wasn't that bad to navigate. You actually have a chance to go through, look at everything. And like Eve said, there is actually shit to do, but you have to actually look at the program and go, oh, look, there's shit to do. And I'm just going to toot my own fucking horn. There is actually something kind of big to do Friday night, which
Friday
they
night.
opted to not do.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
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 So don't tell me that there wasn't anything to do when you had an explicit invite to this show that you decided to not go to. But again, I think that would have ruined her narrative.
All right. So I have to ask you, my darlings, my dear friends, and this is, I mean, everyone in the comments too, of course, but Freddie, Felicia, Eve, we're all performers.
Mm.
When we go to events as performers, I don't feel like the other entertainers, performers, guests are obligated to socialize with me or are obligated to talk to me or introduce themselves. But I personally always try, if I have the time and I see the person, because I tend to overschedule myself. So to be honest, this is a bit of a me problem. But I try my best to introduce myself to people. The other entertainers, so that they know who I am. And then if I see them, I always try and like include them in things. But if they haven't introduced themselves to me, I cannot include them in things. And if she had introduced herself to you, to me, to the Grand Arbiter, to Eve, I know we would have been dragging her around, including her in things, and like introducing her and announcing her to people and promoting her panels too. I know she likely doesn't know this about our community, but she did not take the time to meet us and to learn that about us.
She didn't put any effort into it at all. Nothing. Not a damn thing. It was and okay. Now we're going to get into a little bit of consent here. So she literally went around the entire time. I don't know if it was her camera or if she had another recording thing.
Maybe it was
with
like
her.
one of those hidden shows she had hidden. Or
I don't know. She had something because she was literally recording everything and everybody at all times. And then every time someone was like caught trying to take her picture or whatever, she made some snarky ass comment about it. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're trying to take my picture? Well, fine. I'm just going to go ahead and film. I'm like, you are literally filming everybody here and not asking a single person whether or not they minded being filmed, whether or not they minded being recorded. In fact, she was literally like, we're just going to secretly record this here real quick. We're not going to tell them. We're just
So
going to
as an
secretly do this.
influencer, she didn't like do interviews with people or say like,
Nope.
"Hey,
Nope.
Well, I mean, so there's this moment where she talks to Frank Powers, who's a local personality here, and who Frank does a lot of charity work as well as emceeing at other events, and he's on the radio. He occasionally does bits on the local news. He's very involved, but his big charity is helping to bring art to underserved youth at public schools. And so he's got this whole like comics bookmobile, and he sets up at this con so that young people, children, have a place to go and do something fun and interactive while their parents are being boring and like swanning about in brown top hats. And so she's like out there with her partner at the moment this is announced. And of course, Frank, like all of us, is like, what is going on? I'm so confused. I want some information. Right. I'm distressed. Like, I've been planning my whole weekend around this. You can just see the anxiety hitting him. And it's hitting her too. And rather than taking a moment of empathy and going, you know what? Maybe it's not kind to film people who are likely freaking out as much as I am in this moment. You can see her do it. She hides her camera so he can't see it, and then she asks him a bunch of questions and like doesn't introduce herself and doesn't say I'm recording this for my video. Doesn't give him any sort of context that it's happening. And she also filmed him having a conversation with hotel staff as like an eavesdropper without letting him know that that's happening.
But she in the conversation that she has with hotel staff, she blacks out their faces.
Yeah.
Why their faces?
Right.
Because they'll
probably because they have money to sue.
Right.
They'll sue. We're all too poor. We're poor bohemians.
And we're gonna be dead anyway. We're gonna die in a couple weeks.
We've all got one foot in the grave. It's all we're all practically dead at this point.
Wow.
Decrepit corpses.
That's crazy.
And she also makes a weird statement at one point. She says, "I don't think I would have felt right filming people gambling." What? Literally,
people?
Right. She literally says that because she's walking around the casino at like 7:30 in the morning when she first get there. And, she's like, oh, it's empty, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, it's a good thing we did this now because I don't think I would have felt right filming people gambling.
Yeah.
But she films people at the con.
Right. I'm like, so what's the difference between filming somebody gambling and then filming other people who don't know that you're filming them?
Right.
Or know who you are?
Yes.
Or who know or give a fuck, honestly. Like nobody's going to give a fuck who you are. You can tell me that you're this thing, you have an influence, whatever, you're an influencer, you have a YouTube channel or whatever. I'd be like, cool. I don't give a fuck. I don't. I'm like, Felicia's seen me when we've worked with RuPaul girls and shit. People are like, oh my God,
that have been on the show that know you.
Right. But even then, I don't get crazy over them. I get excited for Mystique because Mystique is just fun. But there was no I don't get excited over people because I don't care. It doesn't affect me one way or the other.
Most of the time he doesn't know people from day to day. So
there is that too. I'm terrible with names and faces. Don't know who the fuck anybody is. I'm like, Felicia, who is that person? The last person that I was literally super excited about was honestly Dick Van Dyke. That was I don't get excited because I don't care.
Well, it's because you guys are the same age.
Exactly.
I get
it. Exactly. I'm like, and it's
Brothers.
So it's like, it was, and then she's like, well, at least the staff and the owners of the con accepted me. But you didn't give anybody else a chance.
She did not give anyone else a chance. And it's very frustrating because, honestly, there have been periods and places that I have been in Steampunk in the earlier days where I absolutely met so many gatekeepers and people were not welcoming. And I feel in my heart that we've all been making a concerted effort, especially in the last few years, since quarantine and the pandemic to do our utmost to be extremely welcoming and to put people at ease and to do the thing of like putting out a chair at the table rather than like
Right.
shutting the door on our gate, metaphorically.
Well, and while WestCon is one of the more inclusive ones, because we do have Asgard and Lady Wheelsworth, who are constantly advocating for accessibility at the convention. And that's like another aspect of it too, right? It's like we want to make sure that it's accessible for everybody, for all people, regardless of age, ability,
Yes.
interest level. Like your interest in steampunk might just be the literature,
Right.
or it might be in making things, or it might be the costuming,
it's-
but like that doesn't negate your level of
It doesn't, and it's
interest.
like, everybody starts somewhere, like I remember throwing together my first like steampunk outfit, and then I went and I was like, oh my god, look at all the things I could do. So
Oh my gosh, can I say a slight tangent on a slightly shady conversation?
oh god,
I was at an oddities market a few months back, and I actually asked a corseter who I had met about. I'm like, "Oh, have you been to any of the steampunk conventions? Because you're local, because there's a few ones." And they're like, "I just feel like steampunk's just like so like handmade and so."
I remember you saying,
like,
what?
I was like, that's where everybody starts. You make your things by hand. You start
What?
making things by hand. We all have to start somewhere.
We also literally have like workshops.
I couldn't wrap my head around the comment because it just felt so like she had gotten so good at her craft, she forgot where she started.
Yeah, I'm like we
and it just like it confused
I
me.
learned how to like I am by no means any expert with things like foam and stuff like that. Like I am not at Ben Havoc's level. Like Ben Havoc is fucking amazing when it comes to foam shit. I am not at that level. I can do some things, and some of the things that I learned, I actually learned at my very first Wild Wild West Con. And it's like it's one of these things that you just you figure shit out. Everybody starts somewhere. But
Yeah.
also there are people that are just fucking phenomenal that should be fucking highlighted, and the fact that you couldn't even bother to do that, instead you're gonna go find folks who maybe at the beginning of their steampunk journey, maybe this is just their sort of casual Friday, like you have no idea what they're, but you're gonna have the most sort of the most like bare bones basic steampunk stuff, and you're going to completely ignore all the amazing shit around just to fit your narrative that steampunk is dead and the fandom is old and dying.
Right.
Bullshit.
And look, one of the things I love so much about our community, and
she
I
took
want
her glasses off.
I did. I feel so many things, Felicia. I feel so many things, and I left my hat pin in the other room, so I'm being very contained. All right. But one of the things I love, and I want to say this before I go into my further statement, is that steampunk is a place of so many ages, and it is a place for older people like us to dress up and do cosplay and feel very comfortable. But as Lady June Squill is here in the comments, and she is 80, and she has a gay old time, if I may say so, at steampunk events, partly because all of the queers have adopted her, but also because she comes and has fun. And I love that we have that range, which seemed completely lost on this costumer. But the thing is, if you are a costumer and you are a costuming influencer on the tube of you, and you are out here presenting yourself as like a teacher of introduction to sewing and someone who's helping people get started on their costuming experience, and you cannot take any time to go to the fucking fashion show at the fucking show, what the fuck are you doing? Party.
But that's because she wasn't about it. She just wanted everybody to fawn over her and act like she was the bee's knees, and that wasn't going to happen.
She didn't
So
bring
she walked
anything
in with her
to
ego.
be in the fashion show either, right? She
there was nothing that like like I said, there was nothing special about her outfit. If I was just walking around, which I was, and I'm pretty sure I must have seen her at some point or another, there was nothing that made me go, "Oh my god, wow."
I
Nothing.
saw her briefly. It was Friday morning as we were coming down for the start of the show. So it's fairly early to the day. And I saw her, and I didn't know who he was. He looked like her handler because he was in a two-piece blue suit and he looked pretty bland, to be honest.
Right, he's in a fucking blue suit at a steampunk convention. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Unless you're dressed as David Tennant from Doctor Who, most people probably won't know who you are.
Right. And also, as somebody, and I will not throw them to the wolves, but as one of our mutual chums said, he looked like another pit boss at the casino. And so everyone thought he was an employee, honestly. They didn't even know he was a cosplayer because it's just a suit. And if you like Severance, I get it. But it's fine. But this wasn't a Severance convention. It was a steampunk convention. So the context is also missing. But the big thing is, I saw her. She's walking to the elevator. And if she hadn't looked like she was beelining to get out of there, I would have tried to chat her up. But instead, I just gave her a nod because I did know who she was. And I was hoping for an opportunity to talk to her later. I'm not now, though. Anyway, sorry.
So, I have several questions.
Okay. We have several answers.
The thing about this is that the culture has led itself to believe that if you don't know something, ignorance is your key to success or something of that nature. Because look at the leader. Anyway, but
just say it. Just say it. Just say it. This is a safe space.
But if she's getting, this bothers me because this is what I do for a living. So if she was doing something for someone, like somebody put her up, like you literally just shat in the mouth of somebody that paid for you to stay somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they want to hire us to do it next year, we can do it the right way.
Right?
There is no way. If I had asked somebody to do this, trash, absolute trash, because that just throws your credibility out of the way. And I would be asking people like, "Hey, how'd you make this? Like, where do I get something like this?" Or, and we would introduce ourselves. But probably,
it would have been done very differently. Like we totally could have done something. And mind you, we don't have a massive following, but we still understand how this shit works. And it's like, hey, do you have a second? I'd love to talk to you real quick. Do a quick video about, how you got into this, about, your costume, whatever.
Like
we'd love
part
to do
of the process to be learning. And I've always been just the inquisitive one, or as my mother calls it, nosy. But isn't like the reason why you go to some of these things are to
learn?
To you go to the workshops, you go meet some people, you go and you do the mingling, and then you go, oh, I could do this and I could do that, and then you're just inspired.
Yeah.
But here she is taking the flavor out of the water.
Yeah.
You've hit on some very important points. The first point you've hit on is that this particular hit piece is not a good look, and because it has been seen by so many people, including various organizers or people who are familiar with organizers, at least in Arizona, to various conventions, and also people who are connected to other cons. Her name is being asked to be put on essentially no-fly lists. Like, hey, do not invite this person to your con. They will trash you. They are not. They're not a good guest.
I may or may not have given a heads up to somebody involved in another con here about her.
I've passed her name on to someone else at a con around here, and I know a few people have discussed talking to other con organizers as well. So she has definitely, like, maybe she's successful enough on her other platforms that this is not going to be a big problem for her, and she will be fine and she can martyr herself.
But that's the problem.
But
Right.
It is the problem. It is the problem. She's successfully marketing the rage and the martyrdom, and that's not okay. But we
I think
safeguard ourselves from further damage.
Right.
By this
I think that's why I have issues with people who are just like influencers, because 9 times out of 10 their motives are not good, because they know how to get those, like, they know how to rage bait, and they know that negative shit's going to get more attention than anything positive. And I'm like, so you've basically made a living out of going around and trashing things. You knew going into this that you weren't going to be positive about this, because you said that right off the bat. You're not going to go into something positive and be like, oh, I'm going to go see if this is dead.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a positive mindset. You can go into it and you can say, I don't really know anything about this, so I'm excited for this experience. And, I don't know really anything about, this genre. I don't know anything about the fandom, so I'm excited to, like, go talk to people. I'm going, nothing. It's, I'm going to go see if this is dead.
Yeah.
And like Dee said, you can only ride that train for so long before you're blacklisted so much it doesn't matter anymore. And so all the little, like,
move on to something else and then trash
all the little teeny boppers are going to be like, oh my God, so cringe. Ew. Oh my God, steampunk. Yeah. Like, oh my God, they're just so old. But the people that see it, that organize cons, that things, like you said, there's this phone tree that gets activated with shit like that. And
can somebody activate that phone tree and tell them we're interested in?
Right. And it's like, whether it's just like the steampunk community, whether it spreads to other cons, because obviously she has a reputation. If I was told that she has the ability to make or break a con.
Yeah. I have had some truly terrible experiences at a convention that were the responsibility of the convention organizers. And I still try and be very professional about the way I present any critique of that convention. And I'm very happy to hear this conversation and to be here for it, because it really struck me, like, if I am invited as a guest of honor or a special guest, and the show, a headliner, all these things, and the con chairs, the con-com, the owners and organizers fly me out, pay for my badge, put me up in a nice room, give me a lovely gift basket, make me feel like very treasured as a guest, I am going to do my utmost to be not only professional and meet all my obligations, not only promote my appearance at the show, but also afterwards to speak of it in kind tones. Now, if they absolutely fuck me over,
there's going to be a conversation about that. There's definitely like, I will drag them for sure.
Usually I
wait until the check clears.
I usually just don't talk about the show, but it depends on how terrible it is. But, like, if they have been acting in good faith and they are not responsible for my bad time, I am not going to do a thing where I make rage bait out of their suffering.
Right.
But that's the era that the kids live in.
Right.
It's a very sad era.
Yeah. But the thing is like, the convention attendees,
she's probably earning money.
We were outraged. We weren't outraged at the convention, though. We were outraged at the casino. And
I was mad at because there were things on both ends, and I said this. There were things on both ends that could have been done way better than they were. I like both sides fucked up some serious shit. Like we talked about this the week I came back, how the casino and the tribal authority really fucked shit up as far as like really you're just going to come in and just sketchy. And then with the con themselves, the lack of information, the lack of communication, the lack of all of that. Like we talked about this shit because nobody is above blame in that situation. However, it was not a like, oh my god, the entire thing was fucking ruined and fuck all of this and Steampunk is dead because my weekend was ruined and la 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 and everything is awful. It's like, no,
baby doll.
No, and my understanding from the convention made certain to put up all of the convention guests and to transport them to the hotel and to also get them to their flights home.
Yep.
And to even help with some of the other people who were stranded because they were traveling from out of town. And this influencer decided with her partner to leave early to go home that night. So she missed seeing some of the most beautiful moments in our community. The ways in which, even though our convention had ended a day and a half early, we still came together, supported each other, helped each other pack out, load out. And I understand at the hotel on Sunday, there was a lot of like, everybody was together and finding fun things to do. It was not a convention. It wasn't what we wanted, but we are indomitable and we had fun anyway, despite the tragedy.
So many pockets of the community came together to support each other, to take care of each other. During the loadout, there's a lot of conversation about how the vendors came together to make sure that 2-hour time limit was met. And as mentioned, like there were a lot of guests who were not guests of honor. They were not guests of the con. They were attendees of the con who were from out of town, who suddenly had to find a place to stay because their flights weren't out for a couple days. I was one of them. You know, and so finding places for all of us to sleep. And quite a few people stepped up to that plate and made sure that everyone was taken care of, and organizing basically like a coalition of creatures to make sure that everyone had places to go, and that people were going, you know, to Seven Cups for tea, or going to Old Tucson for the day, and having a pizza party one night, and just like doing things as a group in not maybe the same way that we wanted to, but at least celebrating in ways that we could together. And
isn't that the most important part though?
Sorry?
Yes.
It's the most important part, is coming together as a community.
Yes.
Right.
And
I mean,
go ahead.
We were fortunate that we were able to just drive home. Like we were lucky in that sense. But I mean, if we still lived in Tucson, if we had couches, I'm sure that we would have been like, y'all just come crash on the couch. If you end up throwing up, the bathrooms over there or whatever, do your thing. Like
I think in the end, like kind of what I felt kind of after the first wave of rage about this video was mostly just kind of pity for her. Like wow, I feel bad for you, son. You have 99 problems, and obviously community could have probably solved at least 10 of them. And you know, like you missed out on a really great opportunity and a really great experience because you refused to be open to something that we really value. And in the end, I feel like my mother, and I'm disappointed in you.
Yes.
I still stand by my very first impression, which is, wow, this chick is a cunt. But still, there. Also, I did chuckle a little bit at the sort of karma that happened.
Please tell for those that don't know.
She, you know, several people who were at the con did end up getting sick. A lot of folks didn't actually get a diagnosis. It was assumed that it was norovirus. For those of you that aren't familiar with norovirus, it is not so fun. basically you end up essentially running from both ends. You need to like have a bucket while you're sitting on the toilet. Like it's not pretty. It is miserable. It's one of those things that hits you hard, hits you fast, and it's not. It's
I had a drunk
So
Saturday night like that once.
right. So after all of the shit that she decided to all the things, right? Apparently, she's literally sitting on her flight back home and is unable to get either the little puke pouch or make it to the bathroom. She throws up all over herself and her partner. Oops.
Is this in the video?
Well,
she has
a little animated moment.
Right. She turns it into like a little it's a little artist's rendering basically of her throwing up all over everything.
Ew.
And I'm like, well, karma.
I don't wish anyone to get norovirus. Well, that's not true.
I love that Eve is frozen once again on a look. No. This was the last time they were frozen was another look that was similar to this. So Eve is now frozen.
No, I don't actually wish the regular, average, normal people norovirus. It's terrible. It's terrible. And I wouldn't typically want this person even to be suffering in this way. But she made some. She made. Oh no, we lost our opportunity. She made some what I would call like tone deaf comments about our community being older and so concerned about people dying, and I'm like, right. Are you concerned? Because it sounds like you're making a joke about it. And there is a very real concern that immunocompromised people and people who are older can get extremely ill from something like this. And so, and it's so close still that I don't think any of us are really laughing about the experience yet. Catch us in 6 months and we'll probably have more jokes.
Right. Yeah. It was a whole last thing. But when we saw that the video was going around, because I don't think I would have seen the video had it not been brought to our attention. Because again, same. I don't give a fuck. So I wouldn't have seen it. But because it was brought to the attention of the con, it was like, oh, I'm gonna go see this and see what this is about. That's when I was like, we need to have a discussion on this. So I was like, hey, y'all want to be on my show? Let's go. Come here. We need some guests. We're going to be on the show. We're going to talk about this. And I told Felicia, I was like, so we have guests on Wednesday. This is why. I'm like, it's bullshit. Do better. I don't care if you call yourself an influencer. I don't give it. And stop defending people just out of sort of this weird.
Well, she didn't know any better.
No, right. Like, no, I don't care if she's an influencer that you follow. I don't care if she's friends of a friend. I don't care. Like, don't just blindly excuse bad behavior without actually looking at the whole thing and understanding how damaging shit like that can be, how ageist this was, and how she literally went in there with a really shitty attitude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
if she didn't want to be there, why did she agree to it?
They paid her way. And she got to she knew she could make content. And you are a costumer making the content and needing to get that content, you're always looking for the next thing you can do that is going to get engagement. And if I'm being compassionate and I'm going to have to scrape very deep into my heart for this compassion, I know that it's a hard hustle and that is a constant work. And her video was very well edited. Her film quality was very nice. Her sound quality, really good. It's a type of slick production I could only dream of. Kudos to you.
Look, I'm going to say one thing. Oh my God. If she had done finger guns anymore, I would have kicked her in her taco. I was over it. The fucking finger guns constantly throughout the fucking video. Oh my God. Find something else.
But she's a cowboy.
She's cowboy.
She's a cowboy.
Not English. She's a cowboy.
Cowboy.
House.
So cringe. So cringe.
Also, like, Weird West isn't a thing. Like, we don't have scads of authors in steampunk who write in a Western sort of setting. And I just have to have a moment of rage. I'm so sorry. But I have been doing a steampunk book club for like 15 fucking years. And steampunk certainly has more than one influential book set in England. Thank you.
No, there's only one. Only one.
Has she
One
only heard
only.
about the difference engine? Also, she doesn't name a title, so I'm like, have you read it?
She doesn't
Or did
read.
you just see a
No.
listicle?
She
And
doesn't
then,
read.
I mean, probably not. And then
I mean,
they
look,
are
what
necessity.
the hell? Wild West with fucking Kevin Kline and Will Smith is totally fucking steampunk. Like,
She doesn't know who Will Smith
the
is.
giant
Because
spider.
if she is in her 20s, that
That's
is
true. But she's
before
probably
she was
never
born.
seen that.
that's
She only knows Will Smith because of that incident with, you know, the person and
right.
the thing, right?
And what the hell? Why is my brain the shit? The show that was on Showtime with Orlando
shit
Bloom.
Oh, you mean Carnival Row?
Yes, Carnival Row. Totally fucking steampunk fairies.
I would also argue Penny Dreadful is very
Yes.
Penny
steampunk.
Dreadful.
Yes.
Like, yeah. So, but those are British. Penny
Oh,
And
those
can
are
we
British.
talk about like the whole Shadow and Bone thing, because there are parts of that with the crows
Bone
that's
is
got
very-
very, very steampunk vibes.
Oops.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, look. By the way, everyone,
Put those
steampunk
cacti
is
somewhere.
very diverse in the kind of fiction, and there's been so much effort made by many of us who love steampunk fiction to be out here representing that steampunk is more than the difference engine. And so I found that moment extremely galling as somebody who does that work.
And something else that bothered me was that so every year there's a different theme, right? And some themes are more sort of, I guess, elaborate or whatever than others. Depends on, what it is, right? This year's theme was fucking steampunk Halloween.
She went as a cowboy.
There were so many different like steampunk iterations of things that got zero recognition, zero anything. Like besides like my, me and Dee, we were on
did a
Saturday anyway. We
wonderful
did the
Frankenstein.
and Bride. There were other people that did similar shit too. There were fucking Ghostbusters that are fucking amazing. There were I know, I love them. I've talked to them a couple times. There was a gentleman that was dressed in a suit that looked like Oogie Boogie, and his partner was in this beautiful fucking dress that looked like the whole like Nightmare Before Christmas thing with pumpkins and shit. It was fucking glorious. Do you see any of that?
We had Wonder.
No.
Oh my god! Not in the video.
Nope. You see most of the time either her feet or other random people that aren't really doing much because and it's like you
quality content. Quality content.
I guess so. I feel like, so not as a actual professional social media maven, but somebody who plays one on TV, aka somebody who occasionally does it for Madame Askew and the Grand Arbiter, as that is my primary way how I pay my way at the conventions, is I do their social media content during the cons. Is that if I was somebody who was invited to be a cosplayer costume guest of honor, is I'd want to have my best costumes with me,
absolutely,
regardless if they were on theme or not. Like if I didn't have time to whip up something that was on theme, I would still want to bring like either my most iconic or my most technically interesting costumes, just so that it would kind of present me in my best, like my resume, right? I'm literally sharing my portfolio. And then I'd want to make content talking to other costumers or being interviewed by people who are like interested in asking me about my costumes. Like there's content to be made there, and it is literally, the bar is in hell. You can't even trip over it. It's underneath you.
Yeah.
There's no reason to tear down something. There's wonderful content to be made to build things
Or
up.
Yeah.
for goodness
Right?
sake, if she had gone to the drag show, she definitely would have had.
I'm like,
The drag show was great. It was so good. It was so fun.
the fucking
my
the
gosh,
drag
I
show.
had a
We had burlesque, we had stilts, we had puppets, we had ghosts, we had all the fucking things.
I had
And-
a lap dance. It was amazing.
Like, so the fact that she kept
Very on
complaining how
theme.
bored she
Very
was
on
on
theme.
Friday and that there was nothing going on Friday, and I'm like, that's on you.
Yeah.
That's 100% on you.
So, I have a question for you all, the three of you, and the community, because I know Bill is still here and Tracy.
So are many. Lady June Squirrel is still
June and-
here. Like,
Tracy
we have many folks. Yeah.
Have you all thought about doing a rebuttal and responding back to this video?
Isn't that sort of what we're doing now?
Right,
No,
I feel
no,
like
no,
this
no,
is kind
no,
of
no,
what
no.
this is.
Kind of what we're doing right now. This is
No,
our
no, no, no.
catharsis.
I mean, like, do it. Like, tell her how it is.
I feel like it's as much as it would be nice to kind of take on this somewhat Goliath-esque figure in comparison to who we are. I don't feel like any of us want to have her teeny bopper fans
God.
come at us. Like, I don't need that. I don't need that noise in my
Mm-mm.
life. I'm quite content to just be a shrew,
Right.
and I'm quite content to be a shrew in my own circles, and
Understood.
to let her burn her bridge, give her all the gasoline she needs to burn those bridges, and happily go on my way, knowing that I'm going to have a great time at my next convention and at my next show, because
Right.
I look fabulous. I love people for the most part in small doses. And I love the people I get to do these experiences with.
And there's
please go ahead.
No, I was saying, and there's this.
There's this. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. She is an ant in comparison to everything else that's going on. Like,
I just felt it gave us good content.
Yeah.
We're all queer. We have like really heavy fights that we are trying to
Yes.
save our energy for. But also, to be really real with you, Felicia, what makes me want to do is next year at Wild West Con, make a different kind of video that's all about our wonderful community. I'd rather try and capture 30 minutes of interviews and highlights of all the people and their wonderful costumes. And my darlings, everyone who's listening to this, if I have the wherewithal and if my team can put it together, or if we can put it together here collectively, then that will happen, because I would love to see that happen. Because
I've got my GoPro.
All right. Well, we'll have
Well, and also, I feel like there's a certain photographer who also has a GoPro who typically takes a lot of video, who would probably be down for that.
So we'll have a talk.
Because
We'll have a talk.
he was very heated about that video, actually, as well.
Yes, he was.
So
yes,
We'll
he
talk
was.
to him. Great. I love to interview people, as many of you know, and I just look. I am sad for her in that older auntie way. I'm like Eve. I'm disappointed in her. I'm also sad for her. What a sad type of artistic life to pursue that is just about the negative at 25 or 28 or whatever age she is. Tracy, maybe next year is Lord of the Rings meets Steampunk year, and we're all going to go on our crusade to Mount Doom where we talk about how fabulous we are.
one ring to rule them all? Nonsense. We all have
That's
rings.
right.
So many rings. Oh my god. No, I like I said, this is about as much time as I wanted to be able to give to this, but I thought it, be worth being addressed, because there are other things that we talk about that are applicable in other facets.
I think next
and
year
I
you
am
guys should make your video.
right. I think we'll have to
Yeah,
we'll have to
I think we
collaborate
will.
and do the thing. We'll
Yeah.
get like we'll get us together. We'll talk to a certain photographer. We'll do the thing. We'll make it a collaborative effort, and we
And I
will
bet
like.
if we can make like a little set spot with a little seating situation where we can just make sure that everyone gets who wishes to, who consents, gets to have a moment in the video. Because really that I can see why some people were like, that wasn't that bad. She didn't really trash the con. She had nice things to say about the management and the volunteers, not staff, volunteers. No one gets
Right.
paid to do this show. They are
Right.
all volunteering their time. By the way, volunteers. This is not that big a show. People, blood, sweat, and tears and energy. And the volunteers are amazing. But to just, I lost my train of thought.
It's
So
fine.
Because you're
We got you to
49,000
do
years
the
old.
thing and make it better
got
and
you.
stuff.
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
joyful and happy and positive. Got it. I'm
Thank
on
you. It's
Well,
hard
as
being
an
49,000, all right?
it. I know.
It's
Speaking.
not that we're trying to.
Oh no!
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Oh no! Right, I was just. We're not toxic. We're not trying to promote toxic positivity.
No.
But we do. We do look at things with a realistic lens.
Mhm.
However, we do try to find the joy as resistance,
Yes,
right? Like
yes.
don't take away the joy that we
Right.
have.
No,
Yes.
Felicia and I talk about toxic positivity a lot because it's a thing. It is 100% a thing, and nothing is perfect. There is no such
Never
thing
will be.
as there's no such thing as a con that goes off without a hitch. There's no such thing as no room for improvement, no matter what it is. But there are so many things that are so good about this community and this specific con that I think they deserve to be highlighted, and we will.
Except for me, because I'm perfect.
Ooh, that was some good ASMR voice, too. Ooh.
Right.
Ooh.
So go with
You are
that.
Save it for
Speaking-
Patreon.
Oh no, looks like, oh no, that's a shame. Eve, we lost Eve. Oh no, I don't know what happened.
They might make a video
Speaking
next.
of losing
Oh my
Eve,
gosh.
we are winding, I know it's like 6 hours past Eve's bedtime at this point. Because it is very late where they are.
It is 12:40.
Yes.
Oh my
It is
gosh.
very late where Eve is right now. So, real quick, where can folks find you next? Eve, Madam Askew, where can people find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they do the thing?
Okay. I currently am in Louisville, Kentucky. That is where my new permanent residence is. My next show is on April 20th at Zanzibar for the Vices show. Yes, that's 420, aka Easter, and another fun holiday.
I don't get it.
I've never heard of it.
I will be bringing back a very infamous act, which I'm very excited to bring back to the stage. Hopefully it goes well.
Oh my.
And then I believe, I can't remember the date, but I'll also be doing a Venus Pearls Burlesque brunch at Vernon Lanes. There we go. At the Vernon, sorry, it took me a minute to remember the name of it. At Vernon Lanes. You can find me on Instagram at eve.riot.artistry. Same thing for TikTok. And I also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Eve Riot.
Yay. And Madam Askew, where can folks find you?
Well, honestly, we are doing our live stream every Friday night on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, very much like you, Freddie and Felicia. Ours is at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, and that's very chatty hour. I'm also doing Tuesday nights on Twitch, my little Stitch and Twitch, where I talk sewing and sometimes talk about sewing skills and work on a few projects and answer
check that
really
out.
any sewing questions you throw my way. I'm also getting ready for WorldCon in August. I'm very excited. The Grand Arbiter and I were accepted as panelists, and we do have some
That's
programming we're
awesome.
going to be doing. I'm thrilled because the Hugo! Honestly, I'm such a reader. I'm very excited about that. But also, listen, Worldcon is also full of old people who love books, and that's my jam. So I'm doing that in August, and then coming up in May, I'm heading up to Phoenix to go to the Tea and Tropes event to help present and market TusCon. So I'll be there in the like vendor area talking about TusCon. This is a new event and I don't know what to expect from it, so I'll be reporting back on that. And of course I'll be at the virtual Wild West Con in May as well, because something we didn't talk about is that Wild West Con is doing a 13.5 to do some of the content and some of the panels, and also to help support some of the vendors who lost their opportunity to vend because of, closing early. So I'll be at that. And you can find out so much more on my Patreon or my website, because I posted the April calendar today, and that is a public post on my Patreon. Really, if you just look for Madam Askew, I am everywhere. I'm on all the social media except for Twitter, because fuck that trash fire. I'm sorry, what was that, Eve?
You're everywhere.
Yeah, and I'm bringing tea everywhere I go.
All the tea. What do we have coming up? So this Saturday, for the folks that are in Arizona and Phoenix, this Saturday we've got Drag Bingo at Shea Cheese, which I'm excited about because cheese, and also it is benefiting a rescue. So,
Home
come check
for
out Cheese
Good.
and do good.
And then on the
417. Yes.
we
We're
have
back
sex
at Gracie's
trivia.
for sex trivia, which is always super fun. So come do that.
There isn't a flyer for it, but it's still happening. I've been asked that question. Yes, it is still happening. I wasn't in charge of making the flyer because it would have happened already.
Neither was I.
It would have happened already. And then on the 24th, I'll be at Drink Me Tea Room for Drag Bingo. I believe it is limited seating, so like we say all the time,
get your
if
tickets.
You know that you want to be at something, get it early, because
our shit sells out. We're not kidding.
Even when I'm by myself, I sell out. So
I know, shocker.
Felicia, you're just such a treat. Everyone wants to
that's why they should come to the Drink Me Tea Room.
Get a little sip.
Oh my goodness. Thank you to all the amazing folks that joined us on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook tonight. We appreciate you. And special thanks, of course, to Madam Askew and Eve Riot for staying up far past their bedtimes, even though it's not even 10 o'clock here, to come on and spill some piping hot tea with me. We appreciate you so much.
As always, the internet worked so much better at the end for both me and Eve. And
I don't
so
know why that happens.
No.
If you subscribe to our Patreon, I'll be there too. Because I was not on this episode at all, and I'll listen back and be like, "Oh, I was not there."
Yeah, it's fine.
You were in our hearts, Felicia.
Something. I don't have a heart.
No hearts.
Well, I'm a ginger, so I don't have a soul, so I have to make up for it.
Excuse me. I have lots of souls. Thank you. I have just, gathered
I
them.
have my own original soul. I have like a series of canonic jars
in
where
jars,
I keep other people's souls. Yeah.
I picture this being very Ursula-like.
It
Thanks to everyone who watched live and those that are watching on the replay. And if you are listening on the podcast, please leave a review. And Eve can go to sleep. I'm just doing my last thing. I wasn't even here for the whole thing. So if we go to 2 hours, that means I've met my time.
Yeah.
We will see you next week for your Wednesday night conversation. Good night.
Good night.